Good morning friends and welcome to a new vlog. Ollie and I are out on our Monday morning walk. It's a really lovely fresh day here in Melbourne, so I'm loving the weather. You want to hop down and have a sniff? I have a few things on this week that are pretty important, but today is one of those days where I just get to take my time and do whatever the hell I want. And if you have been following for any length of time, you will know that one of my favorite things to do is just go for a walk. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today. I'm feeling pretty cute in my very colourful Ober skirt and one of the jumpers that we hauled at Savers last week. Ollie's got her new haircut and is getting so much attention, it's ridiculous. I'm loving making these vlogs, but I'm honestly feeling a little bit run down today. So my focus this week is to obviously get the things done that I need to do. One of the really big important things that we're doing this week is I'm starting hydrotherapy. I also have to go into work to pick up some books for the prize. But other than those things, I just feel like this is a week where I need to take it pretty easy. I think one of my few goals is actually going to be to try and read, which I know has been an on and off again goal for me for like the last several months. And to be completely clear with you, the books that I'm going to have to try and read are for the prize. As I've mentioned, I am a judge for the Readings Children's Prize this year. And because of my injury and the subsequent anxiety and all of that, I am a little bit behind. I'm very behind on the reading. So although I don't have grand plans of getting through every book that I'm behind on this week, that's a bit too ambitious, I do just want to start making some headway. So I'm not quite sure how all of that is going to work, but basically we're aiming for a pretty relaxed week with a couple of big appointments and some time for reading. But for now, let's just focus on this beautiful walk.
You must think that I'm a restless case because I ran away, If you listen to the words I say, you know that I'm okay, you know it's just a phase. Don't think I'm leaving cause I'm not at all, and if you get hurt it's unintentional. I just wanted you to realize that I'm the one you like, that I'm the one you like. So where do we go from here? Where do we go, I don't know. Where do we go from here? Where do we go?
Oh, I'm much further away than I thought. I'm gonna shout so you can hear me. Editing me is not gonna be mad at all. I'm at my parents' house. I had my first hydrotherapy appointment this morning. The first appointment is kind of more just like an initial examination and get to know you kind of situation. So you don't need a pool for that. Although she did get me to get a bowl of water and do a few exercises in a bowl of water. I'm honestly not entirely sure how I'm feeling after that appointment. It had its positives, but it also had its red flags, you know? Firstly, she was 40 minutes late and did not let me know. And then when she finally did call me, she had arrived at my apartment, which is, you know, not here where we had agreed to meet. And then, you know, she had two phones and she like answered a phone call halfway through my appointment. And then she was trying to tell me that my appointments should be every 2 weeks because of funding, even though I'm paying as a private client because the agency that I booked her through wouldn't accept my work cover claim. And every 2 weeks, like this has been going on for 4 months. Like I don't want to wait another 2 weeks to actually get started. The vibes were just a little bit off, but she also seemed really sweet and she liked Ollie. So, I mean, you get points in my book for that. I don't know. I guess I had just built up this moment, starting hydrotherapy in my head so much, and it's been such a long wait to get here for so many reasons. And now that I finally had the appointment, I feel, I don't know, I just feel a bit disappointed, I guess. Am I just being a negative Nancy, Ollie? Is that what's wrong? I suppose I'm just struggling with the fantasy that I think a lot of us have in our heads, that if we do the right things, if we do what we're told, if we behave in all the ways that we're supposed to, if we do all the exercises we're supposed to, if we take the medication we're supposed to, if we show up to the appointments we're told will help us, we do all the right things, we be the perfect patient. And yet at some point that realization of that's not how injury works, that's not how disability works, that's not how recovery works. I think especially with all this work cover stuff, like you're constantly being monitored about how well your recovery is going. And so when you don't meet other people's expectations according to like a fucking spreadsheet, it just sucks. You're not a person with an injury that has resulted in, you know, chronic symptoms that are really hard to get on top of. You're a person who's failed to stick to the recovery timeline. And somehow that never means that maybe those timelines are inflexible or unrealistic and humans are complicated and bodies are weird. It instead means that you fucked up, that it's your fault. I even said to her at one point when she asked me to move my injured hand, my fingers like this underwater, and I couldn't do it. I'm looking at my hand under the water thinking, move like this. And they just wouldn't do it. And I said to her, I'm like, this hand doesn't even really feel like my hand anymore. You know, like I'm looking at it, telling it to do something I know I can do, I know how to do, and it just doesn't listen. And so I feel like I've sort of detached from this hand at this point. Like I look at it and it's not really mine. So I think there's like a level of grief that I'm feeling for the hand that I used to have. And sometimes even like if I'm watching a video or a show or something and someone just like casually picks something up with their left hand, I get like jealous or like weirdly angry just for a split second, you know? But it's all there, all those weird, messy feelings. It's just a hand. It's not even my dominant hand. And yet this whole thing has just been consuming. I was going to tell you that I was going to chill out at Mum and Dad's and read for a little bit, but I don't even know if I can right now.
Surprised we don't go together, but it took us a while before we figured it out. What a shame. I'm not asking you for closure, I just want it to be over. We don't need to break up if we were never aligned. Is that okay? I shouldn't be yours if it means changing who I am to get us through. You shouldn't be mine because you're you.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to Wednesday. It's just after 11. I just finished my psychologist appointment for the week. I say for the week, but they're fortnightly now. But as per usual, I cried pretty much the whole way through. So of course I had to make myself a cup of tea and just sit down and let myself breathe for a few moments. We spoke about a lot of things today. We spoke about my disappointment in my appointment yesterday. We also spoke quite a bit about the emotion of anger, which is something I've been feeling quite a bit for the last few weeks. Now, I'm a Libra. I'm a double Libra, I found out recently. Actually, that's something we'll talk about another time. But as your friendly local neighborhood double Libra, I'm not someone who holds on to anger all that much very often. I am someone who, although conflict avoidant, would so much rather sit down and have an uncomfortable conversation and move through difficult feelings and resolve them rather than just kind of like let them linger. But of course, we all have relationships in our lives where that's just not always possible. And there's been some stuff in my life that's kind of brought up a lot of like long held resentment. So although I don't really feel like I can resolve that anger practically, like with the people involved, it was nice to just kind of like talk through some stuff with my psychologist and also be reminded of like the purpose of our emotions like anger. I think especially as women and femme presenting people, we're often taught from a pretty young age that anger is like a really bad emotion that should be avoided at all costs. And while obviously we don't usually want our anger to result in like violence or something like that, I think it's really powerful to be reminded that anger is a really important motivating emotion. Anger lets us know when our boundaries or our values have been compromised and motivates us to do something about that. But all in all, despite the crying, it was a very cathartic session with my psychologist today. I am in quite a lot of pain this morning after my session with the physiotherapist yesterday, which meant I didn't sleep very well and overall I just feel quite drained. But we do have more on the agenda for today. So I'm hoping this cup of tea will help me rally and we can put myself together a little bit more and head off out into the big wide world, because today I'm hoping to see my friend who's in hospital and also to pop into work to pick up some books that are there for me. The weather in Melbourne is a little bit miserable today, so I'm not relishing the idea of heading out, but I know, especially with how I'm feeling right now, the alternative is to sit and like dwell in my own self-pity today. So it will be good. It will be good to get out and about. I'm just giving myself a few moments with a cup of tea first. Then yesterday, I actually did a bit of reading. I've been reading The Wolves of Greycoat Hall, Boris in Switzerland by Lucinda Gifford. I'm up to chapter 4, page 42. So I actually did quite a lot of reading, although this is one of those kind of younger middle grades with plenty of pictures throughout, which is, you know, making the page count look a little more impressive than perhaps it really is. But these illustrations are very cute. In this one, we're introduced to a young wolf named Boris who like has a lot of friends and a horse and is really having a great time when his family gets a letter from their great aunt who lives in Switzerland and is not doing very well. So Boris's family, the Greycoat family, decides to make a trip to Switzerland to go and take care of his great aunt. But of course, while Boris is there, he still needs to get an education. So on their way, he is dropped off to a Swiss boarding school. And in this world, humans and wolves coexist, but we have already been introduced to the fact that there are some humans that don't believe wolves are like on the same level as them. Maybe like human supremacists, if you will. And there's a bit of a suggestion already that maybe some of these people at this boarding school might fit into that category. So, I mean, I'm already intrigued. So it is nice to be reading again, even if I'm like almost feeling stretched by this. This is definitely the reading level I'm at the moment, which is great. I'll take it. Anyway, I'm gonna go finish my cup of tea and then get ready to head off for the day. Is this the exact same shot I left you off on yesterday? I think so. I'm even wearing the same hoodie. It is a different day. I'm wearing a different shirt, although it's still just stripes, so it probably doesn't even look that different. I promise you, it is the next day. Let's face it, you're not here for the cinematography of these vlogs. It is Thursday and I'm feeling quite down, if I'm being entirely honest. Blair's at work today, like he went into the office, so I'm at home and I had, you know, grand plans of having this super productive day. And I have been doing a few things here and there around the house, but definitely not as much as I'd hoped. I've been getting quite a few phone calls and I've also had to return a few that I've been ignoring for the last couple of weeks. I got a call about my parents' cat. I had to call the lawyers about this work cover stuff. Not fun, cute, funky, fresh stuff. You know what I mean? I was planning on filming me being out and about yesterday. Obviously not taking you into the hospital to see my friend necessarily, but you know, wandering around Carlton and showing you my bookshop and the park and some other pretty things, but it was pouring down rain for an awful lot of yesterday. And my camera is not waterproof, so I was not risking that. But what I can show you from yesterday is the books that I picked up. I'm still reading The Wolves of Greycoat Hall, Boris in Switzerland. I'm like, how far in am I? 78 pages, chapter 7, killing it. And then I got this whole stack from work. Some of these are for the prize, some aren't. The first one is Mars Underground by H.M. Moore. This is the sequel to Mars Awakens, which is a sci-fi middle grade book that my manager actually loved and I did want to read. Then we've got Philomena and the Impossible Forest by Doris Brett. I mean, this looks like it could be my kind of book, doesn't it? Like it looks cozy and cute. Can Philomena save the forest? And can she also learn how to save herself? Then we have the sequel to Wheeler, A Kuri Warrior. This one's called Custodians, and it's a bit chunkier than the first book. The adventure continues in this best-selling series inspired by First Nations history and grounded in culture. And then we've got Huda Was Here by H. Hayek, who's the author of Huda and Me, so I'm guessing this is a sequel. I've heard really good things about the first one, although I haven't read it myself, so it'll be a good time to read this. And then I also got from my friend at work, Janine, The Girl, the Dog, and the Writer in Rome by Katrina Nanestead. Not sure when I'm going to get to this, but Janine loved it, so she wanted me to read it too. I'll get to it eventually. So I've got plenty of reading to be getting on with, and I will be needing to get through at least quite a lot of these in the very near future, so I need to get a wriggle on. There's quite a few more things that I have yet to tick off on my list to get done today. To be perfectly honest, this was a very ambitious list. I'm not sure that I was ever going to get to all of them. So even though I'm in one of those moods where I really don't want to do anything, I am going to try and tick off a few more things. Also, obviously, I need to take little Ollie for a walk. I mean, I need to take me for a walk too, but she's definitely a strong motivating factor. Otherwise, to be perfectly honest, I probably wouldn't bother putting shoes on today. I do also want to pop into the chemist because the hydrotherapist, even though I wasn't thrilled by her, one thing she did say is that she didn't really want me wearing my splint anymore, which to be fair, I pretty much only wear this when I go out of the house. And I wear it partly just so that I feel a bit more safe and comfortable, but also as like a signifier to other people to be careful around me, because like I've had someone just like run into me one day, like about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it was excruciating. I think it's still important to have this around, and there will be times where it is appropriate to wear this. But I want to go to the chemist and try and get more of just like a compression sort of glove, I suppose, preferably a fingerless one. It's a bit tricky because like a lot of them are more wrist compression bands rather than like my injury is like here to here, not here, you know? But she recommended that partly so that I could have that visual, you know, imagery for the people around me, that visual cue, but also to keep my hand warm during winter to help manage the pain. So there are a few reasons for us to get out of the house today, even if we won't be going very far. I also have been keeping track of a few questions I've been getting. A few of them are like recurring questions, so I thought we could tackle those as well. But for now, I might head off and like do the things that I need to do outside while it's not raining and just get them done, and then I can feel good about that. And then I can make a cup of tea and sit down with you and just have a little bit of a chat. That actually sounds quite nice, doesn't it? All right, Ollie, let's go for a walk. You ready? Can I put a jumper on you? Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
Nothing. We don't talk about nothing.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Come on.
Nothing. We don't talk about nothing no more. Nothing. We don't talk about nothing no more. Nothing. We don't talk about nothing no more. Feels like I've been doing way too much, babe. Feels like I've been working through your stuff, babe. Over time, lately it's been getting kind of tough, babe. Feels like
Wow. 3 times in one vlog in the same spot in the same hoodie. You can accuse me of many things, but being inconsistent is not usually one of them. This is maybe a little dramatic, isn't it? Is that a bit more normal? It's cold here tonight in Melbourne. I've got my piping hot cup of tea, but I thought what we could do now is I could just do a little bit of a spontaneous Q&A, I suppose. The first one that actually made me think about doing this was I have had a lot of questions and comments lately on the music in my videos, which has been really nice. For the last, I think 3, maybe 4 videos. Since the video I did going to see the 1975, I've actually decided to trial out using music from a website called Epidemic Sound. For the many years that I've been doing YouTube, I mean, most of my videos don't require music, but whenever I do videos that have required music, I've always just used YouTube's free library, which is pretty good. It's pretty good, but I suppose because I've been doing vlogs weekly, like I think we're up to like what, vlog 7 now, and I'm using multiple songs in each video. Honestly, I was just getting tired of the YouTube music library. This is not sponsored by Epidemic Sound, obviously, but they I think they have a free trial period, and then I got like a discount for a few months. So I just thought I'd see how it goes and how I liked it. And I mean, I've really been enjoying the music that I've been including in my vlogs. I've said to Blair a couple of times that I like the music so much that sometimes I will get a song stuck in my head and like wish I could put it in my playlist on Spotify. But there was one song in particular that a lot of you asked about in last week's video. That was this one. That song is by a group or an artist named Snake City on Epidemic Sound, and I decided, because you liked that one so much, that all of the songs in this vlog that you have been watching have been by the same artist, Snake City. The song from last week was called I'm Not Gonna Change by Snake City. It was the second song in that vlog that I played during our little Savers trip. So if you've watched the last 2 vlogs, you've heard 4 of their songs, and I mean, I think they're pretty good. Another question that I've been asked recently, but honestly over the years, is if I'm vegan or vegetarian or not. I have been vegetarian since early 2018, so 5 years now. Going vegetarian honestly was something that took me a couple of years to like mentally and like practically genuinely commit to. And then in early 2018, I met my friends Nick and Anne, who have been vegetarians for like 30 years. And I think seeing people, you know, who are a bit older than me kind of like modeling a healthy, sustainable approach to a lifestyle change like that really helped me see it for myself too and finally commit. So no, I'm not vegan, and I'm sure to many vegans, I can appreciate that. I mean, you probably feel about me the same way I and a lot of leftists sometimes feel about centrists. I get it, but at least for me and where I'm at in my life and with, you know, my own personal journey with food and body and whatever. Vegetarianism feels like something that I can commit to long term. I'm really happy to be vegetarian. I think, you know, harm reduction is still valid and valuable, even if it's not perfect. And obviously me making that choice and sustaining it over a long period of time, like 5 years, that's a long time, I think has made some people in my life think about the amount of meat that they consume. Like I know for sure Blair, he's not vegetarian, but obviously we eat together, we cook together, so the vast majority of his meals now are vegetarian too. So yeah, I'm far from perfect, but I'm doing what I can. I'm vegetarian. Oh, I think Ollie wants to come in. Hang on. Come on, honey. Yes, come on. Good girl. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Yeah, you're looking real good in your jumper, aren't you? It's very cute. You're going to be talking again, aren't you? Just like last video. Speaking of Ollie, another question that I've gotten is about her name and how it's spelt and whether she's a boy or a girl. She is a female dog, so I use the pronouns she, her, but I don't get offended or upset when people call her he, because like she's a dog. I don't think she has a concept of gender. I don't think she minds. I think it was Granny who chose her name, and it's spelt O-L-L-Y, which I think is short for Olive. Like that was the theory, but like nobody calls her Olive. She's just Ollie. And just in case you were wondering, as a bonus answer to a question nobody has asked, she's an Aquarius. I was going to talk more in this video about, I don't know, being a judge for a book prize and sort of my thoughts and feelings around that and some of the things that have been coming up for me while reading the books and thinking about judging them in different ways. But I think we're about out of time, and, you know, considering I only read a few pages of one book, that feels a little like out of place in this video. So maybe we can talk about that in another video. And if you have any particular questions around that, I would love to hear those in the comments below. The next video you're going to see from me, all things going well, is actually going to be one I'm so excited about. Two of my best friends are coming down from Queensland. They're arriving tomorrow, actually. On Saturday night, we're going to see Twice, and then they have a few more days here where we're just gonna like hang out, explore Melbourne, eat lots of food, take lots of photos. And I usually don't vlog on the weekends. I kind of usually reserve vlogging for the weekdays. But my friend Annie has specifically asked that I vlog their time with us. So all things going well, I will be starting a new vlog tomorrow, and it's gonna be a really fun one. I'm so looking forward to it, so I will see you all there, I suppose. I feel like this one's getting pretty lengthy though, so I will wrap it up there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. A big thank you as always to my lovely patrons, especially Livia, Lynette Brown, and Marie. As I've mentioned before, I know that I'm not really replying to comments in the way that I normally would, but I am still reading them all. So I've been loving reading what you're up to and just your responses to my videos lately. They've all been so heartfelt and beautiful and friendly. So let me know how your week's been, what you've been up to, and I will see you again soon, hopefully with my friend Annie and a Twice concert. Until then, cheers and so much love. Bye.